revenge. Some are saying different. Coming up, more on the charges facing former FBI Director James Comey as he continues to claim his innocence.
Israel must finish the job.
And a mixed response when Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu took the stage at the UN General Assembly. Before he even started talking, some people in the room decided they were not staying.
And we also will teach a class to gun owners and to adults who have a gun in the house that you can't just hide it.
After a boy shot and killed another boy in what is being called an accidental shooting, conversations are starting all over again about violence and gun safety. We sit down with our Megan Hartnett to learn more about what happened and how some are working to prevent more situations like this from happening again. We start tonight with new details on breaking news that we first brought you last night on WTOL 11 News at 11. A 14-year-old boy shot and killed in West Toledo. Tonight, we're learning that the city believes the teen was shot by another 14-year-old who was a friend. Police say that friend is now in custody. And while we are still waiting to learn the details, Toledo Mayor Wade Kapsakavich says that the shooting was accidental. He tells our Megan Hartnett 2 teens were playing with a gun when one inadvertently shot.
3 for weapons with medical, 4536 Walker. We have a female on the line saying that someone killed a baby and someone has a gun. I'm still trying to get more information.
That baby turned out to be 14-year-old Davion Boone. Police found him shot at least once at a home on Walker Avenue Thursday evening. Neighbors say they heard it all and thought,
the violence just needs to stop. We're all sick and tired of the violence. We're sick and tired of dealing with it. We feel unsafe.
But Toledo's mayor says the shooting was an accident. He says the 2 friends were playing with a gun when one shot the other. Emergency crews rushed Boone to an area hospital where he later died. And police took his friend, also 14, to the Juvenile Justice Center. He's charged with felonious assault and reckless homicide.
It was the first curriculum I purchased for the gun violence initiative. And the community members bought in.
Jojuan Armour used to be a violence interrupter for the city. Now he speaks at Toledo Public Schools, where Boone was a student at Start High School. Police haven't said how the teens had access to a gun, but Armour explains there are programs at TPS to teach students about gun violence and mental health.
They participated thoroughly. I've just continually seen success, and I'm so excited that TPS is now, they are a part of that 7 Mindset family.
Other groups like the Toledo Buffalo Soldiers also talk with kids and parents about gun safety.
Starts at home, first of all. Starts with the kid understanding respect for life, respect for themselves, and respect for other people. Then the classes that we teach, the gun safety classes and the other things, and the gun safety to adults comes into play, and then a collaborative effort with the community.
A little bit more about this situation, which, unfortunately, sadly enough, we continue to cover things like this. But the Buffalo Soldiers, you were telling me off camera, you said they go out and they try to create an education element for our youth. How do they go about doing that, and what were they telling you as far as what they're trying to teach?
Well, the Toledo Buffalo Soldiers, they'll go to different schools, community groups. You can even request them to come out to your different gatherings or watch block groups. And whenever they reach kids, a lot of times they said it's like 1st through 4th graders. They'll ask all of the kids in the group, how many of you have ever seen a gun or heard a gun go off? And they say pretty much every hand goes up.
Now, is this one of those scenarios where they say, okay, keep your hand up, and then everybody, when something changes, I want you to pull your hand down?
Exactly. And so the next thing is they ask the kids, how many of you have ever held a gun? And in that group, about half the hands go down, they say.
Okay.
And the next one is, how many of you have ever shot a gun? And they say there's still occasionally hands that stay up in these scenarios. And again, like I said, they're talking to 1st through 4th graders. And so, I mean, those are young kids who have either held a gun or even shot a gun.
Yeah, and we've done stories here, Megan. You know it in your years here, that you've been here. We have talked to whether it be social workers or even psychologists who say there are 10-year-olds who carry a gun, have to have a gun know that that is their security blanket as far as where they're growing up and the dynamic that they're growing up in. There are pamphlets that the Buffalo Soldiers hand out. What do these things try to address?
Well, so when they're talking to the younger kids, they say that if they have ever seen a gun or, they come across one, the first thing is to stop, don't touch it, run away, and tell an adult. The biggest thing that the Buffalo Soldiers say is these kids should not ever touch the guns, because that's when accidents can happen in certain situations. But then they do classes for adults, because they say a lot of times this comes back to parents or the people that these kids are interacting with. So they say it's important for kids to not touch them, and then for parents to make sure that the guns are locked. They have gun locks that they give out through the prosecutor's office or Toledo Police to make sure that these guns are not just tucked away somewhere, but put in a secure location, and also for people to try and not keep them loaded.
We've got about 30 seconds left. This was one of those times when we couldn't necessarily get it nailed down as far as what happened here. So from a journalism standpoint and from your perspective putting this together today, what were kind of the roadblocks for you?
And that's where you said we don't know. We still don't know how these two teens had access to a gun. So it's very important to make sure that we don't draw that connection, but still talking about gun safety and finding those other people, because people like the Toledo Buffalo Soldiers, this isn't the first time that we've talked to them for a situation like this. When we can't get that information from police confirmed, we want to make sure that we're really careful about drawing connections, but still talking about overall safety things that can be applied at any time.
And as they've said, if they just reach one set of ears in this story when it runs, they've done a good thing. Megan, thank you so much.
He's a dirty cop. He's always been a dirty cop.
President Trump is reacting to the indictment of former FBI Director James Comey, who is charged with making a false statement to Congress. Some critics claim the case is less about justice and more about the president's efforts to target his political opponents. The charges include allegations of false statements and obstruction of a congressional proceeding. It has to do with Comey's 2020 testimony before a Senate committee in which he denies authorizing an FBI media leak.
Confidence in the federal judicial system, and I'm innocent. So let's have a trial and keep the faith.
The case was brought by newly sworn interim U.S. Attorney Lindsey Halligan, a White House aide and a former personal attorney to President Trump. Comey is scheduled to appear in court October 9th. Surveillance video shows the moments a man shot at detainees and agents inside a van. It was parked outside a Dallas ICE facility. You can see the detainees running for safety with agents ushering the men into the hall. ICE and ATF officials then head back toward the van, pulling victims away. The FBI says the gunman, 29-year-old Joshua Yan, was targeting ICE agents. Law enforcement believes he used a ladder to get on the rooftop near the ICE field office, then started shooting, killing one detainee and injuring two others. Yan was later found dead. He shot and killed himself. What you are seeing right there is a walkout. Delegates left the UN General Assembly earlier today as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu took the stage to give a speech. Some in the crowd strongly disagree with Israel's actions in Gaza following the October 7th attack by Hamas. Netanyahu talked about his country's operations against Iran. He then vowed to, quote-unquote, finish the job of eliminating Hamas in Gaza and said Israelis will not commit, quote-unquote, national suicide by allowing the creation of a Palestinian state. President Trump has announced a new round of tariffs starting this coming Wednesday. He is targeting a broad range of imports that some say could impact everything from the drugs you take to home improvement goods. That includes a 100% tariff on pharmaceutical drugs, 50% on kitchen cabinets and bathroom vanities, 30% on upholstered furniture, and then 25% on heavy-duty trucks. Coming up, have you checked out our WTOL 11 TikTok page? The high school busing situation in Findlay is trending right now.
Gets here, he's very amped up because he knows he's coming to work and he knows that he gets to be around people and he gets to get loved on.
And a rescued dog creating smiles and cheer as he greets people into this hardware store. But it's his backstory and his tale of survival that'll impress you.
And weather-wise, the first weekend of fall is going to have a nice mild feel with temperatures up in the 80s. But how long does that warm weather last? I'll let you know in my 10-day forecast coming up.
Welcome back to WTOL 11 Plus Now. High school busing could soon return in Findlay. The district cut the service after a levy failed earlier this year, but now that voters have approved a new income tax. Leaders say they want to bring buses back if they can find enough drivers.
It's been a busy last little bit for Findlay City schools. Let me break it down for you. So in January, a levy for the district failed. Because this district failed, they were forced to make certain cuts to transportation services for students. Now, this included cutting high school busing. Now, fast forward to the spring, in May of this year, and a 1% income tax for the district ended up passing. What this did is it opened the door for the district to now restore some of these services. That's what they're trying to do right now. They're trying to discuss which services to restore and what it's going to look like. I just talked to the superintendent. He kind of walked me through a general kind of timeline of what they're looking at as they hope to restore some of these services by the mid-year. However, there's one small issue with this. They're having issues finding qualified bus drivers. So I talked to him about the general timeline. I also talked to the superintendent about how the district plans to find qualified bus drivers enough to restore the services that they want to restore.
That was our Jack Crum on the WTOL 11 TikTok page. Make sure that you're following WTOL 11 on your favorite social media platform to stay up to date on breaking news, weather impact, and the stories that have people talking. Mariah Carey is back. Well, she never really left, but Here for It All marks Carey's first album of new music in nearly 7 years. You just heard a little bit of her new single off the album, Type Dangerous. The 11-track album is officially out today. Now, shortly before her death in 2024, Maria Brañas Morera, she became the world's oldest living person. The U.S.-born Spanish woman lived to the age of, you ready for this, 117 years and 168 days. And now, newly released research is offering some clues as to how she lived for so long. Overall, the research team found the reasons to be her healthy lifestyle and good genetics. She liked to work, lived in the countryside, did moderate exercise, and never drank or smoked. Her diet included olive oil and Mediterranean-style food. She also ate 3 servings of yogurt a day. So there you go, John. You want to
There's
live
the
to 100.
secret.
You want to live to 117. The Mediterranean lifestyle is, and that diet is always talked about.
It sure is. Yeah, it's one of those that really doesn't have too much controversy surrounding it. You know, I wasn't expecting to be alive for the 2099 total solar eclipse, but maybe with some good Spanish genes and the Mediterranean diet, I could see the next total solar eclipse. So
there you go. So everybody, take notes. Let's talk about the weather forecast heading into the weekend. We are ending September on a very warm note.
Yeah, and this is the first official weekend of autumn, but going to have that little hint of summer in the air. I know you were talking about some may even need the air conditioning this week with temperatures in the 80s, but those evenings and nights still do get a little chilly. So let's jump into your forecast as we head towards the weekend. Temperatures this evening are in the 70s, but over the weekend, we're actually going to climb a few more degrees, and I expect highs to be in the 80s both weekend days. Mostly sunny skies are expected, and other than a little bit of patchy morning fog, crystal clear conditions during the afternoon hours. Clearing skies with all the fair weather clouds moving off towards the east coast, and that'll make for a nice, clear, calm, quiet evening and overnight. Here's a look at our current conditions across northwest Ohio and southern Michigan. Temperatures near the lake shore have dropped back to the lower 70s, only at about 73 in Sandusky, 77 in the metro, and west of town it is a little warmer with some areas still hanging tight closer to 80 degrees. And I do expect a nice warm weekend ahead. Now, in case you missed it yesterday, there have been some updates to the drought monitor. That brown color shows severe drought that has really expanded, and it essentially goes from the state line all the way down towards Lima, with the vast majority of the area under at least a severe drought. And there have been a few upgrades to extreme drought, including Findlay up towards southern Wood County and then over into Henry and Putnam counties as well. That extreme drought situated near and north of the city of Findlay. Now, while the weather's quiet here at home, we do have our eyes on the tropics with intensifying Hurricane Humberto, and based on the latest data, this is actually ramped up to a Category 3, and projections do show a Category 4 major hurricane emerging this weekend. Current sustained winds are at 115, but gusts are stronger, and the central pressure down to 962 millibars. Now, Humberto itself is not going to make direct landfall in the United States. In fact, it is eventually going to turn off to the east, but the issue is the track of this is going to interact with another tropical cyclone that's currently in the developmental stage near the Caribbean. And due to the track of Humberto, this second one, which will likely be named Imelda, is potentially going to make landfall on the east coast, including the Carolinas, causing the potential for tropical storm to hurricane force winds, as well as heavy torrential flooding rain. Now, here at home, quiet conditions overnight, a little bit of patchy fog can't entirely be ruled out, and mainly sunny and mild conditions are expected into the weekend. So in the temperature department, I am expecting those highs to be generally around 80 degrees. Light southwest west winds are expected for your Saturday and into Sunday. A couple degrees warmer. We're going to be in the low to mid 80s, and a little warmer even west of town, where a few areas like Defiance and Putnam counties could be closer to 84 or 85 degrees. Generally, Sunday is going to be the warmer of the two weekend days. Great weather for heading to that apple orchard, corn maze, or pumpkin patch. All this fall activity is going to be really nice as we start to see a few of those changes in fall foliage. Impacts ahead include a little bit of patchy fog tonight, sunny and milder into the weekend. And as we turn over those calendars into October, going to be a very quiet and dry stretch of weather, and those drought conditions are expected to expand and potentially even worsen in the coming weeks. Sunny, mild weather for the weekend, staying mild Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday, though, we are monitoring a lake breeze with east winds ramping up. Wednesday is going to be the gustier of the 2 days, with the potential for winds to exceed 30 miles an hour. The tail end of the week does turn calmer, and looking ahead towards the first weekend of October, it is likely we stay very mild with those highs in the mid to even the upper 70s. Jeff?
Well, from surviving Hurricane Helene's floodwaters to wagging his way into customers' hearts, a rescued pup named Kojak has found a new purpose as the official greeter at a hardware store. Here's Manning Franks.
Starting over is never easy. Nearly 1 year ago to the day Hurricane Helene devastated the people of western North Carolina, displacing hundreds. And one of those people currently works here at the newly opened Nighthawk Ace Hardware. And slowly but surely, they're finding their new purpose. Or should I say, a new purpose.
That is Kojak, our store dog / mascot.
Ace Hardware's newest employee is always ready, soaking up attention from every shopper who stops to say hello.
He's really sweet.
When he first gets here, he's very amped up because he knows he's coming to work and he knows that he gets to be around people and he gets to get loved on.
Kids especially can't resist him.
He loves kids. He loves anybody that walks around the store.
Kojak's story wasn't always this warm, though. A year ago, Hurricane Helene changed his life in Nashville.
The shelter that he was in when he was getting rescued was actually already starting to flood, and he was in the kennel. And they actually were able to get the animals out and get them back onto the airplane and fly them back to Winston so they could find homes for all the animals.
After weeks in foster care and professional training, Kojak landed a job here at ACE.
They found a temporary foster home for him to stay at, and then once that happened, the owner met him, fell in love with him, so then he got moved again to the lady that trained him for 8 to 12 weeks.
But most importantly,
Look that way, look that way.
He got a family.
Look that way. And he's just as happy as he can be now because he's got a purpose now.
Nighthawk Ace, Kojak is more than a mascot. He's proof that out of disaster can come a second chance and a smiling greeter at the door.
It takes a lot of volunteer work and committees to help bring us to that accreditation, and we're really proud that it's been 10 years.
Coming up, downtown Tiffin celebrating a milestone, one that is making its Main Street shine. Lucas County Commissioners, Canine Care and Control looking to make shelter dog lives easier while they're at the shelter, and how right now that is a real possibility. Thanks for being with us here on WTOL 11 Plus Now. Here's a look at some of the local stories that we're tracking for you tonight. Downtown Tiffin reached a special milestone this fall, 10 years as a nationally accredited Main Street program. Accreditation provides tools and support for downtown revitalization and growth through training and conferences. The mayor says accreditation isn't about forcing Tiffin to follow Main Street program rules, but about using the standards to reach their own goals.
It takes a lot of volunteer work and committees to help bring us to that accreditation, and we're really proud that it's been 10 years.
Not all 116 businesses are still open, but Tiffin plans to keep leveraging the Main Street program to attract business, events, and visitors for years to come.
This is extremely important for our little furry friends that we have, because they'll have their own little room, they'll have their play area.
Lucas County commissioners were out today at the new Lucas County Canine Care and Control to cut the ribbon on this brand new facility. It is at 1301 Monroe Street. It spans more than 39,000 square feet and replaces the aging shelter over on Erie. It is the result of a 3-year, $35 million project funded by the county. The shelter features 177 kennels, a number of outdoor play yards, and 2-sided kennel designs that separate sleeping and bathroom areas. The new shelter officially opens to the public October 4th. Well, from there, we want to hear from this next piece.
All right,
let's start walking. Here we go.
Mark, do tornadoes happen in the fall? Can they happen?
What did you say? What did we say?
We said yes.
Yes, we said true.
And?
That's the false way. Go this way.
You guys said false. I'm pretty
And what's the answer? Tornadoes can happen. And what did you ladies say? Or are we doing this individually?
We're doing this individually.
Oh, that
we can do it
makes
together.
Yeah,
what
we
did
should
we
probably do
say?
it together because we've had the same question.
Yeah, I think I also said true.
We also said true.
Yeah.
Hey, Tim, can you pull up that video real quick,
Sure.
please? Tornadoes can happen in the fall.
Oh, yeah.
True?
One second, let me find out where it is. Yeah,
He's
there it
working
is.
on it.
1 second, here we
There
go.
it is.
The answer is true.
Of course this is true.
Yeah, come on.
I remember back to dates of like November. I believe this is either November 17th, 2013. This looks like Cloverdale down in Putnam County for these tornadoes.
It is definitely possible. In fact, fall is the second severe weather season. Not near as intense as spring, but still it's possible to have some very
I
strong
mean, you think back to the Van Wert tornado, Veterans Day 2002. We've had many tornado days that have happened in that time of the year. This is closer to North Baltimore, Jerry City right there, another tornado that hit that same night in that area as well. So absolutely, it is true.
What I say, there's
Is that because the weather is unstable and all that?
Because you have a collision of the air masses,
Yeah.
right? As we were all taught in elementary school, you can get the collisions that happen in the fall, just like you do in the spring.
And it looks like they can be just as strong as in the
They can be. The outbreaks tend not to be as frequent or as widespread, but it's easy to get the ingredients to overlap.
All right, so we're 1 for 1 right now. Our next
Mark, you made the right turn. Nice job.
Good job, Tiffany.
All right, there we go. Good team. We have enthusiasm over here, okay? Yeah.
Well, I hope you still have it when you lose.
That's what I love to hear.
Yes.
Oh, go hide.
That was awesome for somebody who's lost in the corn. Go ahead. All right, what's next?
Is it warmer in Toledo in the spring or the autumn? What did you
this
two
was a
say?
tricky one. Is it warmer in the
This
spring or
said,
autumn?
I think we all said autumn on this one.
Yes.
Okay, we all said autumn. The answer was?
Autumn.
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 No,
is
cool.
the answer.
All right, so there you go. Good
So
job.
far, you guys are on the way. You're making it through.
All right, so that John was explaining as I was following along, it's a virtual corn maze full of quizzes.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Join the Radar Rangers coming up next right here on WTOL 11 Plus. The latest episode streaming right after WTOL 11 Plus, now in just about 3 minutes. Appointment viewing. Students today at Frank Elementary, they had some fun. Check this out. Frank Elementary students got to be part of the school's annual walk-a-thon. It is a fundraiser that helps support the Jacket Way program. That program rewards students for having positive behaviors throughout the year. The program also teaches students to be respectful, responsible, and ready. Families came out to support their students. Also in attendance, Muddy the Mud Hen, Buzz from Perrysburg, Mascot Central out there, and also the fire and police departments. Sun-filled day. Beautiful skies. We've been talking this week a lot about fog and foggy conditions.
It's been a big recurring story.
What has built up? Because we haven't had a lot of rain. We did have some rain early on, but is it just the moisture in the air?
Yeah, oftentimes when the winds are calm at night and the air is fairly stagnant, you know, especially if we can get that northeast wind off the lake, that contributes to some low-level moisture. But really, the calm winds at nighttime is a recipe for that fog. And there is still some lingering moisture from the rain earlier on in the week. Not expecting major impacts this weekend, Jeff, but still patchy fog possible Saturday morning, and the sunshine quickly wins out into the afternoon. It's going to be a beautiful weekend for all those fall activities. Maybe you're heading to a real-life corn maze as opposed to the virtual one this weekend.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, going to be in the 80s both weekend days, although it might get a little bit warm in there, so make sure to have that sunscreen and the hat ready. Temperatures Sunday peaking out at 83 degrees into the start of the upcoming week, staying very mild, but it is going to be turning windy Tuesday and into Wednesday. Boy, those east winds off the lake this time of year here are no joke, especially east of the metro, where it's likely to be in the 60s in areas like Point Place on Wednesday. Latter half of the week does turn calmer, staying cool, but then we rebound to the mid to upper 70s. And that's the first weekend of October. No signs of any rainfall. So that drought that you mentioned likely to continue and possibly even get worse for the next 10 days with that rainfall deficit growing.
Don't forget, every WTOL 11 newscast is live online right here on WTOL 11 Plus. We hope to see you back here tonight for Big Board Friday.